I think let's go ahead and get started with our event today. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to our audience who are joining. We're so happy to have you here. I'm Karen Kohler. I'm in charge of marketing for the U.S. market here at Umbraco, and I would like to welcome you all to today's discussion with our very valuable panel here. Topic of how to overcome CMS licensing cost challenges. And with us today, I would love if you would please take a moment to introduce yourselves. We have Blend Interactive, we have Blue Modus, we have our friends at Cylogy, as well as Ingentek. So first, Carla, brief introduction.
You bet. Sure. Hi, I'm Carla Santee. I'm CEO and founder of Blend Interactive in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So we've been implementing Umbraco for well over a decade and have been a gold partner for the last several years. We were, for the sake of this conversation, also Episerver's first North American partner in 2008. And so we are also an Optimizely Gold partner. Blend is a contributing Umbraco partner, and also I am an Umbraco MVP. So we have a lot of connection in the Umbraco space in the community, and I'm happy to be on this call today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carla. So happy you're here. Brad?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Brad Rockwood. I'm the Vice President of Strategy at Blue Modus. We are a .NET agency, Umbraco being one of many platforms we support. We've been working with Umbraco for over 5 years. Really love the platform, and really excited to be a part of the panel today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. I am Stephanie Petrucia, and I'm the technical director at Cylogy. We're a digital agency, kind of boutique, and we are fairly new to the Umbraco partnership. We've been a gold partner starting since the beginning of this year. Just finding some of our clients' needs are more in line with what Umbraco has to offer. So happy to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Stephanie. Joe.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Genovese from InGen, and we are a fairly new Umbraco Gold partner. Been doing CMSs for years and years, and my company does .NET integrations and just about any kind of web development there is. We work with other CMSs as well. One of those is Sitefinity. We work with Optimizely. We work with Umbraco. We work with another open source one that I won't mention at the moment. And but we're happy to be here and looking forward to doing some work with y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Again, really appreciate everyone joining. We are super excited here at Umbraco. This is the first time that we have done a webinar panel, and I couldn't be happier to have you all here with us. And I thought one of the things that we would pick off with is just to kind of throw out there, from your agency perspectives, what are y'all seeing out there in the marketplace as it pertains to enterprises? Like, what are they looking for right now on their CMSs?
I can start.
Sure.
So at Blend, many of the new opportunities that we're seeing coming in have outdated CMS solutions that are in need of not only an upgrade, but an overhauled editor experience with some content orchestration. We've really seen that a lot of companies have reduced budgets and perhaps have reduced their team size as well. So people are really looking for a CMS that makes it easy to find, edit, publish, and maintain their content across multiple channels, because really their digital presence holds an even larger share of marketing right now. So in short, we're seeing that companies really are wanting to do more with less and paying close attention to the time to value and associated costs really involved with those licensing fees of their existing platforms.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're also seeing very similar, things over at Cylogy. I would say to add additionally, a lot of people are focused on their analytics, with the GA4 rollout. I think that caused a lot of people to, realize that it's more complicated for them to get the results they had before in analytics. And so they're kind of looking for a CMS solution that can also help, bring that back for them, along with, again, wanting to maintain those licensing costs that they currently have.
Yeah, so from a Blue Modus perspective, I think I could talk 45 minutes alone about, what people, what I'm seeing out there and people are looking for. Since we don't focus on a specific industry, we hear everything, but I think across the board, there's 5 things I hear consistently: is a user-friendly interface, an API-first approach, content personalization and AI integration, multi-channel publishing, and really scalability and performance. Those are kind of the main things our clients and prospects are looking for. I mean, ultimately, they want a CMS that's intuitive and user-friendly. It is really important to ensure that content editors can work efficiently within the CMS. API first approach. I mean, there's so many systems out there and tools outside of a CMS that are within a tech stack. So a content management system that can easily integrate with those systems, and content personalization too. Enterprises tend to look for a CMS solution that can integrate with AI and machine learning capabilities for content personalization. Scalability and performance, another one I mentioned, that really a CMS that could handle high traffic loads and scale with their growing content needs. So, Joe, how about you?
I think you nailed a whole bunch of things there that I was going to say, so that's really good. But the biggest thing that we see our customers asking for is ease of use, collaboration, so workflows and things like that, and then how well is security. So they want to know that it's secure, and it's going to work well for them in the long run. But and cost is the other big thing. So I think Umbraco answers a lot of those questions, and I think we're going to find out more as we go on here that we're in the right area for content management needs for customers out there right now.
Joe, do you feel like the costs that are continuing to rise with CMSs? Do you feel like those licensing costs, or do they tend to turn you away? Are you seeing any issues with that?
It's interesting because we see a lot of paid software solutions changing the way they do licensing. So they'll start off, they'll buy a license that they think that'll last them for the duration of their project, and what'll happen is 2 years into their project they come back and say, well, we've relicensed everything and everything's going to be different now, and now instead of having your enterprise license, you have to buy this other all-inclusive license that has integration with their cloud and integration with training and things like that. And it ends up causing a lot of gaps for what they actually need, and they end up paying a lot more in the long run. And I think and the fact that maintenance costs keep going up. The software maintenance licensing right now is somewhere around 30%, sometimes higher. I can name a few companies, but I think we all know who they are. You'll see that they'll you get your license, and then you get a 31% bill for your annual maintenance fee, which is kind of a turnoff for people, especially when you're spending a lot of budget on your site. So,
Right.
A lot of my clients are long-term clients too, and they are proactively planning ahead. They know that their license in a couple of years is coming up, and they're asking for advice all the time. And given we've supported lots and lots of clients and have a lot of exposure of that, we can kind of give them a 3 to 5 plan. This is what it's going to end up being, and that's really bringing up a lot of discussions and planning ahead for what they're going to do in 3 to 5 years.
Great. Carla, how about you? Are you seeing any issues with keeping your larger clients as it comes to cost?
Not necessarily. I think we're reprioritizing their budgets in different ways. I think one of the things that we've experienced is for our longstanding clients that have been with us for many years, you started with an on-prem license that was pretty affordable. And as, new technologies and tools have been introduced, like someone mentioned, like your costs sometimes, quadruple, if not more. So that's a lot to swallow for people. So then they really have to take a look at, is that investment worth it for them? They're used to paying a very low cost. So do they stick with it? Do they pay the price to re-platform? All those are really expensive decisions that they're all weighing. And I think on this call, our job as partners is to make sure that we're aligning the right solution for each client individually, whether it be Umbraco or something else. It's really what we need to do to make sure everybody's got the right platform in front of them that will last for years to come.
Yeah. So it is more about that user experience and what's best for them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right, great. Well, Stephanie, let me ask you, so when it comes to your end clients, when they come to you and they may have some concerns about IT budgetary restrictions, how do you address that? What do you tend to do at Cylogy?
Yeah, short term, we try to keep all enhancements, projects very minimal. Phase approach, keeping it simple. For example, if a client comes to you and wants to start personalization, all of them want to start personalization, but they have a minimal budget. Okay, well, let's start with your analytics, right? Let's gather as much information as we can. Maybe some of the questions you're asking about what your users are using, you can get from analytics. Monitor that for a few months. Also, SEO is another example. There's lots of things you can do with SEO. Cylogy, we offer an SEO service offering, which is a phased approach. You can, start with simple, just auditing the Google Search Console, giving them explanations, having them start clean up things, and then you can build on that and do other things. So you can take a big project that would cost a lot of money to actually implement and really keep it simple first and gradually in a phased approach roll these things out so that the cost doesn't seem so high up front and instead is spread out a little more.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Do you think that, are you seeing when it comes to your clients, are they really concerned about the cost? Like, is it an issue, or are they, kind of ambivalent to it, or is there a norm? It just depends.
No one likes change. So it's going to have to be a significant cost, right, for them to really make a switch. If you're actually talking, would they really switch platforms just to lower the cost? It comes, they're thinking about it now before they wouldn't even consider it and think about it. They're certainly thinking about it. They're looking for us advice. I've never been asked so, many questions, and truthfully want to know my thoughts and what would I do because of those concerns that they have. But yes, I think cost, no matter what size of client they are, it is definitely on the forefront right now. I see it, being discussed in every single SOW, any kind of work that we're, going for is cost is definitely involved there.
Yeah, I know for me personally, it definitely is. So I was interested to see, what you were seeing out there with your clients. I wanted to kind of switch gears for a second, and anybody that knows me knows that I love my statistics. And I came across a statistic with Gartner recently that basically what they were stating is that when it comes to CMS subscriptions, that those organizations there's about 30% of their cloud fees that are paid by an organization. It can cost actually up to 30% when it comes to licenses. They're not using their licenses. If they have dormant licenses, how are you, what tips, Brad, I'm gonna kick over to you. Like, what tips would you have to our audience to help avoid those hidden costs, like the cloud fees?
I think it comes down to a variety of things. One, thoroughly evaluating, the initial costs, understanding, the licensing or subscription fees associated with the CMS platform. You need to consider any additional costs for setup, configuration, and maybe initial customizations. Another thing you can do is really clarify the license and subscription models. Most companies offer various versions of the content management system, and understand, hey, do I need base? Do I need something more that requires, EMS, enterprise marketing solution types of functionality? And really understand also, how does that marry with your roadmap? If you're not ready for things like personalization, lead scoring, then maybe you can start with the base version, until you need, those enhanced features. And really too, understanding maintenance and dates that are associated with the platform, and also factor in some customization and development, because we're going to need to rely on someone like, a Blue Modus or any other the agencies on here. So that's additional cost. If something's out of the box, you need to rely on an agency to really customize and enhance those solutions to really fit your digital needs.
Awesome. Thank you. Joe, what about you? Do you have any tips? Do you have any client comparisons that you'd be willing to offer up or anything?
Yeah, so one of the things that I see a lot is the customers will get into something. Sometimes they'll go to a different agency, maybe that doesn't have tons of experience with the CMS, and they'll do things to achieve a goal, but they won't use the features out of the box. And I think Brad touched on this, but when they over customize, if you will, they end up spending a lot more money on the solution when they can utilize things right out of the box. And there's a lot of content there that are a lot of features that can be used that would achieve what they're looking for. But inexperienced implementers will do custom everything. So that's one thing. The other thing is when dealing with the prospective CMS company, they say, here's our license levels. That's not always written in stone. I think you can negotiate kind of a ad hoc usage licensing agreement that customizes what you need, that can save you a lot of money. And then a lot of times, just a tip, these CMSs companies will say, okay, we're going to do here's the license fee. It includes training for 2 people. It includes this and that and connectors and blah, 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 blah. When it comes down to it, the people that are using it don't often know what those license limitations are. So they want to they want to start another URL, that they need, and they don't realize that that's a whole nother cost. So conveying that message to the people that are using it, what the license limitations are, will go a long way. And also making sure that like things like the training and all that stuff, the implement training, they forget about it and those become dormant. No one uses it. And then those that's just free money for the company. So make sure that you go through and use what's there. And if you're going to get the training, make sure you use that training.
Yeah. And I can add to that as well. I think it's important to do maybe an annual audit of your suite of tools, your MarTech stack. With Umbraco being composable, you can keep adding new solutions all day long. But really, what are you using? And take a look at, are there some that are efficiencies by consolidating them? For example, does your CRM could it also handle your email campaigns or marketing campaigns? So reducing fees by paying multiple different subscriptions is key, and just taking the time to audit what you have actually tied to the CMS is something that we don't always take time for. So I think that 30% that you quoted could be reduced by just taking a look at what we're using, what we're not, shutting things off, setting an end date or sunset for some of the things that we might not be utilizing to their full potential.
That's a great point. I mean, I know in my past, like when it came to my MarTech stack, in previous roles, I would schedule a quarterly, and we all try to be great at it. It's kind of like emptying the dishwasher, but sometimes gets overlooked. But looking at everything on a quarterly basis, I definitely don't want to pay for something and not use it. I'm just hemorrhaging money at that point. But it's so hard to work that into as a best practice when you're so busy, running, as so many people often are. That's some great advice for our audience here. Let's jump over. Stephanie, I want to pick on you again. What do you, when it comes to Cylogy and you are trying to plan a project with one of your end clients, like, not that you give secret sauce away again, but what do you do when it comes to planning your project? Like, for example, if you have multiple URLs that need to be considered, hardware, certificates, microsites, is there any insight that you could share with us?
Sure. It really starts pretty simply. We just create a scope document, list all tasks, everything that's involved. I have to sometimes reach out to my developers to get certain estimates. I reach out to my DevOps to get hardware costs, and usually creating that scope document usually creates a lot of questions. So you go back to the client and get those questions answered. It does depend. Hardware is a big factor there. Domains, subdomains, microsites, are they all on the same platform? Are we managing different platforms or integrations? There's a lot of questions that usually we have to ask back in order to understand the scope. But it's really coming down to just defining everything, all the tasks that could possibly be involved in a project. And then, based on those tasks and the scope document is how you come to we have an estimator document that we use based on our different rates of our different people involved. We define what resources would be needed for the project, hours, estimates on each one for the different phases. And then based on that, you also have an idea of what the client typically is looking for. So you can, from there, without even putting numbers on, you can get an idea internally what we think it would cost, and then you can take that and actually put it out in a phased approach. So again, maybe they can't, that's not in their budget to do the whole project, but projects can always be broken out and kept simpler and built on. And we typically give that kind of option as well when, we go back with the actual estimate of the budget.
That's great. Thank you. Very helpful for our audience here. All right, let's see. I'm going to pick on Brad next. Brad, when it comes to cloud and on-prem versus cloud migration and hybrid clouds and whatnot, are you seeing an uptick in interest?
Yes, definitely. Yes. I would say most of the people I'm talking with or to are interested in cloud. It's very rare these days, unless I'm talking to someone in a highly regulated industry or government, state, things like that have specific requirements. But most people are really looking for scalability, flexibility. Cloud services offer the ability to scale resources up or down based on demands. That's a huge plus for a lot of people I'm talking to. The cost efficiency as well. Cloud can potentially reduce infrastructure costs as business can pay for resources on a usage basis rather than making large upfront investments on things like physical hardware. The accessibility and remote work as well is big. It enables remote access to resources, which became recently, increasingly important due to the rise of remote work, since COVID. And also, another one is global presence. Cloud, cloud provides, to be distributed, globally, allowing businesses to serve customers in different regions with low latency and high availability. So those are kind of the big things that have increased interest, in my experience with the individuals I talk to.
Awesome. Is there any particular vertical or area? I know you mentioned global, but is there any specific fintech, healthcare? Are you seeing a spike anywhere in there, or is it just kind of across the board?
I think it's across the board, but in the last couple of years, I think financial services is a big one. We've talked to a lot of banks and credit unions that are shifting from on-premise to more cloud-based solutions.
Awesome. Very helpful. Thank you.
I can add to that.
Yeah, sure.
So with Umbraco 7 becoming end of life, we're seeing a lot of calls come in from people that have largely been ignoring their sites for many years and perhaps not partners with, someone that's watching out for their best interests. So, when we tell them about cloud and how, there are a lot of benefits avoiding those major upgrades and needing to hire a development team like we have to get you moving forward, it's a pretty easy sell as far as the ease of use and staying upgraded. I think again, cost is always part of an issue too. A lot of those customers and clients have been ignoring their website, and you have to really sell the benefits of cloud and tell them really how much it is worth their investment. And so I think once you explain the benefits, they say yes. But I think it's just educational for a lot of people to kind of adopt this new SaaS model and really prioritize their sites for a change. So that's been an educational thing for us to teach people how important cloud is. And as an agency, honestly, I appreciate not having to monitor and be solely responsible for uptime and stability. And, you know, I have a small team of 25. We don't particularly care to work after hours. So knowing that someone else's responsibility is to make sure everything's up and running is kind of a relief.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I know for Umbraco, we've as the excitement around cloud has continued, you know, we have multiple data centers now. We just opened our most recent one in Australia for our friends down there, so that's pretty exciting. So we're definitely seeing, you know, increased interest on our side. Joe, what about you when it comes to cloud? Are you seeing, you know, an increase, and if so, at what rate?
Definitely seeing a pretty significant increase in people that are interested in cloud solutions. And one, I think the biggest factor is, and it's, forgive me, it's about to storm here. I think it's getting darker and darker, and I think you can hear the thunder in the distance. But you guys probably are all aware of the little rivalry between marketing and IT. And so what happens is we tend to see IT not wanting to do some of the things for marketing, and marketing asking for this and that. And we work with both. We work with marketing groups, we work with IT groups. The cloud offers something that kind of frees up the IT group from having to support them. And the marketing group now can do things more quickly without having to rely on their IT staff. So I think the cloud really presents a good option from there. And then, as Brad mentioned, going back to security is a big deal. Not having to deal with your own security if you host it on-prem, you know, let Azure or Amazon or Google or whoever do your security for you. It goes a long ways toward achieving like GDPR, some of the medical requirements and financial requirements. So I think it's that aspect is a plus. But from the percentage kind of business, what we're seeing, I see, so this is relatively new, last maybe 2 years for us. I'm seeing about a 35 to 40% increase in what people are saying as far as we want cloud or we want on-prem, or we'll host it ourselves somewhere else. But I think the cloud offering is definitely a plus, because they can just hand it off, here it is, do it, and they don't have to worry about it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, everyone, I think this has been amazing for our audience that have joined us here today. We've had some great questions come through. So we will make sure to follow up with everyone after today's event and provide a recording of the webinar so that you and your team can take a look at it one more time in case you missed something. I do want to say on behalf of Umbraco that I really appreciate and thank profusely all of you for joining us, especially our valued partners here, Carla, Brad, Stephanie, and Joe. It has been a true pleasure. We absolutely appreciate your time and your contributions to help and educate our audience out there. So I wish you all a great rest of the day. And if you haven't yet, make sure to sign up for US Summit here in Charlotte, North Carolina, first week in October. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye, everyone.
In a few weeks.
Bye.